Owning the data story isn't about knowing the code, it's about knowing the context. Staying silent doesn't just harm you, it exposes your people. She says, show me the data and the logic behind how we're defining a potential. She doesn't debug the algorithm, she questions the assumptions. Show me the data and the logic that got us here, and then stay quiet and let the room get uncomfortable. That's explainability. That's an executive narrative, because it turns noise into direction. Here's the truth. You can absolutely own the data and AI story in your organization, even if you've never managed data a day in your life. Today, I'm going to show you how to translate data and AI into executive narratives that land in the boardroom, protect your people, and expand your power without pretending to be a data scientist. Welcome to Executive Transformation. I'm Lisa Bennings, and I'm an executive power strategist in enterprise transformation and leadership development. I specialize in C-suite women of color, and I'm also the founder of Continuum Transformation. As AI shows up in almost every slide, every strategy, every meeting invite, the leaders who can own the story, not just the tech, are the ones that are really shaping what happens next, and especially for their teams and their communities. So if you're building your AI fluency and your executive voice, you're in the right place. Let's get into it. Let's start with a hard truth that keeps a lot of brilliant women quiet in data and AI conversations. I can't really weigh in here because I'm not technical. Repeat after me. Owning the data story isn't about knowing the code, it's about knowing the context. And so many women in data stories, the real transformation doesn't happen or come from someone with data in their title. It comes from the VP of HR who questions a potential score. It comes from the marketing lead who asks why certain customers never show up in the analysis. And it comes from that operations exec who refuses to sign off until someone can explain the model in plain language. They don't own the data team, but they own the narrative. And that's the story of what the data means for people, the risk around it, and the power that's being influenced by it. So here's a hard truth. If you're telling yourself, I'm not technical, I want you to just stay safe. I want you to realize that many of us have done this, and I see you because I've done this before in my past. But staying silent doesn't just harm you, it exposes your people. Here's a quick example. An AI tool is labeling people as high potential or low potential. And now HR could just shrug and say, well, that's what the model says. But instead, a woman of color leader asks one question. She says, show me the data and the logic behind how we're defining a potential. She doesn't debug the algorithm. She questions the assumptions. And that question opens an audit. It exposes bias. And it also helps them redefine what high potential even means. Now that's the data story, even when the model isn't yours. Power move. When someone presents you with a data-driven label, high risk, low value, low potential, don't argue the label. Ask one question. Show me the data and the logic that got us here. And then stay quiet and let the room get uncomfortable. My power in these rooms has never been about outcoding the data team. Your power has to be the strategic translator. Your job is to answer 3 questions in plain executive language. What story is this data trying to tell? Whose voices are missing from the story? And what decisions are about to be made because of it? Imagine your data leader is walking you through a churn cycle, and he's talking about the features and the weights and the training sets. Girl, you do not need to repeat any of that in the executive meeting. You might translate it as, we can now see 60 days ahead which customers are most likely to leave. And that lets us intervene earlier. It protects our revenue, and it will let us test whether or not our outreach works equally well across different customer groups. That's an executive narrative because it turns noise into direction. Heart truth. If you've ever walked out of a meeting, a data meeting, feeling stupid, it wasn't about your capacity. That was about the culture that confuses density and opaqueness with expertise. Your gift is taking that complexity and turning it into clarity and courage. Let's move into something super practical. Here are 4 questions that, when you ask them, say very clearly, I may not run the data team, but I absolutely own the impact that this has on my people. Question 1, data quality. How confident are we in the completeness and the accuracy of the data that's driving this insight? So you're not asking for every data source. You're asking, can we trust what we're looking at? Question 2, data lineage. Where exactly does this data originate and who is responsible for validating it along the way? You're tracing the story from raw data to your executive slide. Question 3, explainability. If we had to explain this decision in plain English to our customers, could we? And would we agree with it? That's explainability, and it's also about values and it's about reputation. Question 4, the measures of AI success. What does success look like for this AI initiative in business terms? Is it revenue? Is it risk? Is it experience or equity? What you're trying to do is pull them out of that model accuracy into the organizational reality, because these are not data geek questions. These are governance questions, and they say, I'm not here to rubber stamp a model. I'm here to steward outcomes for people, profit, and principle. So let's have a power move here. I want you to screenshot these 4 questions or write them in your notebook. Use at least one of them in your next data and AI conversation, and then watch how the tone in the room shifts. So we're going to take this and we're going to make it personal. Power move number 1, create your signature 3 questions for any data and AI conversation. Now, these questions are questions that follow you from role to role, room to room, and they should sound like you because they reflect what you protect in the organization. Here's one example set that you can borrow or remix. What's the human judgment behind this decision? How will we know if this model is inclusive by design? What story will this data tell about our customers a year from now? And then the power move behind this is, I want you to pause this episode and open your notes and then draft those 3 questions. Do not overthink it. It's all about, what do you protect? Is it trust? Is it equity? Is it the frontline experience, reputation? Let those drive your questions. Power move number 2, I want you to take one current data or AI initiative in your world and turn it into a 90-second business story. Because if you can't tell the story, you cannot lead the conversation. You can use this 4-part structure. What problem are we solving? Why does it matter now? And how does the data or AI enable the solution? What's the expected business impact? Is it revenue? Are we expecting risk reduction, equity? Is it a better experience? Your power move is to rewrite that project in a format and then record yourself and then listen back to it. And the more you listen back to it, I want you to ask yourself, would I fund this? If it's not a clear yes, do it again, refine it until it is a clear yes. Because right now, it's not about being data driven, it's really about being data literate and AI fluent, especially for women of color who already have the emotional labor on their backs. You do not need to own the data team to own the data story. You just need to own the questions, the narrative, the consequences for your people. If this gave you language for your next data or AI meeting, I want a receipt. Drop one takeaway in the comments so I know you were here and that you're doing this work on purpose, not by accident. And then share this episode with another woman who needs to hear, girl, you belong in this data conversation. And if you're about that executive transformation life, go ahead and subscribe. I don't want you to mix the next power move we drop for C-suite women of color. These are the women that are leading real transformation. Until next time, be intentional, own your voice, own your power, and I'll see you in the next episode.